Time is 5:43 p.m. I would like to officially call our policy work session to order. Mr. Truesdale, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Daniels, Ms. Davis, Ms. Green,
Present.
Mr. Jones, Ms. Rawls, Mr. Rodriguez,
Present.
Ms. Bowers.
Present. Thank you. Please note for the record, as you heard, Vice President Green is joining us virtually. Councilman Jones, Councilwoman Davis, and Councilwoman Daniels are all excused this evening. I'll begin with just introducing our discussion topic for tonight. It's around workforce development. We are joined by the site director for the Center for Employment Opportunities, also known as CEO, Ms. Kia Hansard, Kelly Magano. She serves as the director of the Dauphin County Department of Solid Waste Management and Recycling. Tom Rivera, who serves as the Pennsylvania Eastern Regional Field Coordinator for ASME Council 13, and City Solicitor, Mr. Neil Grover. I will defer to our Public Works Committee Chair, Councilman Rodriguez, to lead our discussion, but I did want to note before we begin that our policy work sessions are always educational, informative, and we are in no way affirming contracting or an agreement with CEO, but we are hopeful that it is something perhaps after learning more about the organization and the work that you're already doing throughout Dauphin County that the city of Harrisburg may be interested in moving forward with. So, Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you all for joining us this evening. All familiar faces, so great seeing you all again. I was introduced to the work of CEO a few years back, and I was just inspired on how we can be proactive in giving re-entrants and, just another chance to stop recidivism and, just give an extra heave-ho when it's really time to do so. I work very closely with Director West and a lot of the work we do in the city, but it's never enough. We always need extra hands. We always need, whether it's out of operational time or OT time or weekends when we don't have our normal labor staff. My hopes is maybe we can find a way where we can partner or perhaps contract with CEO and give the city extra hands, whether it's with blight or illegal dumping, or, there's so many things. It's vast and various, but I wanted to start with Ms. Kia Hansard, who is the site director for the Center for Employment and Opportunities, CEO. Ms. Kia, if you wanted to just give an overview of what you do at CEO and just about CEO in general for us.
Yes. All right, good evening. Thank you so much for having us. We are excited to be here. So just to give you some context, American prisons and jails hold over 2.1 million individuals at any given time, and almost every one of these individuals will return to their community. This amounts to 10 million individuals returning home to their communities from state and federal prisons and local jails each year, many of whom possess nothing but the clothes on their back when they walk out. In that crucial time following their release, they're expected to reintegrate into society and become productive citizens. On paper, getting a job, a place to live, and a car seem like easy tasks to accomplish. However, the fact that 77% of released prisoners are rearrested within 5 years proves otherwise. Once an individual reenters society, their likelihood of becoming a contributing member of their community is dependent on whether they can secure meaningful employment, find a place to live, and have the education and skills necessary to advance in life. CEO, the largest reentry organization in the country, helps men and women returning from state correctional institutions establish a life not defined by their convictions. So CEO was founded in New York City in 1996. We found that what we were doing worked well, and if we replicated our model in other places, would we have the same success? So we came to Dauphin County in 2017, and I like to think we're doing a pretty good job in Dauphin County. The way in which participants come to us, they are referred to us either by a parole agent or a probation officer, or it could be by word of mouth. We get a lot of walk-ins off the street. They might have heard about us through a friend, or maybe a probation officer or a parole agent might have just told them, go down to CEO, see if they can, help you out. The first phase of our program is a job readiness phase where we have what is called P2E. It's Pathways to Employment. It is a 2-day orientation phase. It is a paid orientation. During that orientation, we cover a lot of information. We do life skills training. We do cognitive behavioral therapy activities. We talk about how to answer the conviction question because we want them to be honest, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to put everything out on the table either. We also talk about financial empowerment. You're now going to be making money, so we want to make sure that they're going to be good stewards of their resources. Once they complete orientation, what sets us apart from other workforce development programs is we provide them with immediate transitional employment. That is key to reducing recidivism. People commit crime because they need money. Let's be clear. So we have to provide meaningful employment to people that are coming home. And I think we can all agree that there are not enough employers that are doing that. So the way in which we're able to do that is by having partnerships with whether it be governmental agencies, local municipalities such as Dauphin County, whom we love very much.
And we love you.
Businesses where we go there and do whatever scope of work is identified. So we currently partner with Dauphin County, Harrisburg Housing Authority, York Housing Authority, and Dauphin County Housing Authority. So this is a way for our participants, obviously not only to earn a living, but also to gain those hard skills that are necessary to maintain employment somewhere down the line. Because a lot of our participants have been incarcerated a very long time, or may be in a situation where maybe they've never been employed. This might be their very first job. So, keeping that in mind, this is hands-on experience for a lot of these men and women. For instance, we have a woman in our program now who served 32 years in Muncie. It's a long time, right? But she's in our program, she's working, and she loves it. Prior to coming to us, she wasn't able to find employment. So programs like ours are needed in this community. So while they are working on our transitional work crew, they are coming into our office for vocational appointments. So they work 4 days a week. That 5th day, they're coming into the office for that vocational appointment. During that time, we're helping them create their resumes. We're doing mock interviews. We're working through whatever barriers might be present that would prevent them from being able to be employed full-time. So whether that be substance abuse issues, if they need mental health treatment, if there are child care barriers, whatever those things may be, whatever barriers might be present, we're going to help you through those things because, again, those things need to be addressed. We want to resolve all of those issues so that when that full-time permanent opportunity presents itself, you're going to be ready for it. We have a business account manager on staff who is developing relationships with employers in our community. We are very thoughtful about the employers that we're building relationships. There are a lot of employers that say, oh yeah, we hire people with backgrounds, but what happens? They hire them, 2 weeks later, background comes back, they renege on the offer. That person's out of employment again. So we're very thoughtful about who we partner with because we don't want to set our participants up for failure. So when our participants find full-time employment, they then go into what's called retention services. So we follow our participants for another year. So they continue to work with us. We check in with them on a monthly basis during that retention year just to make sure things are still going well. If a barrier might present itself, we will assist. So maybe they get behind in their rent. Maybe there's a childcare issue. Maybe there's a crisis, whatever may present itself. If we're in a position to help, we're going to do that because, again, the goal is to keep you employed and ensure you don't go back to prison or jail. But during that year, they can earn monetary incentives from us for maintaining their employment. So they can earn up to an additional $500 from us for keeping their jobs. So it's kind of like free money. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell. The other thing I do want to mention too is we provide our participants prepaid debit cards. So they are paid daily. That is a blessing and a curse because our participants, they like having money every day. So it's hard to get accustomed to getting used to getting a biweekly pay as opposed to a daily pay. But it addresses an immediate need because now, they're able to begin to pay on their fines and costs, provide for themselves, and provide for their family. So the reason we are here, we are located in Harrisburg. It makes the most sense that we partner with the city. The majority of our participants live here. The majority of them, that while they may not be from here, have the intention of staying here. Why not have them invest in this community where they plan to stay? Restorative justice, giving back to the community where they live. So my hope is, what comes out of this is a beautiful partnership.
Thank you. Thank you. That was very informative. Does your colleague want to share anything from his experiences?
He's nervous.
Or just an introduction?
So this is Alonzo Piper. He is our social enterprise manager. So he supervises all of our transitional work crews. So we currently have 6 transitional work crews between all of our partners. So he's the guy to make sure that all of our crews get where they need to go, that they have all the equipment that they need to have, and that our supervisors are there and ensure that our participants get to and from work safely.
Awesome.
Oh.
Thank you for that. So before we go to Ms. Kelly on just experiences and how you guys work and collaborate together, I'll give council a moment to see if they have any questions for you directly. Start with Madam President.
Thank you. Thank you for the information that you shared. So I see here that, I know that you contract with both Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, and the number of participants has increased, it seems, in both cities since 2015 and 2016. So currently there are over 764 participants in Harrisburg.
That's how many we've served since we've opened.
Since 2017, okay.
Yes.
And then 152 served last year?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any immediate questions. I am curious to learn more about the partnership with Dauphin County. That's all I have,
Awesome.
Councilman.
Thank you. Madam Vice President.
Thank you very much, Councilman Rodriguez. Good evening, and thank you guys for being here. I know that you said that most of the participants are from federal or state penitentiaries. Is there any way that we could include like county penitentiaries, county jails? Just because I know a lot of residents in Harrisburg end up going back and forth between county jail, and they have the same issue of not being able to get a job, and it's not really programs directed towards them.
Oh, absolutely. So on a regular basis, I do presentations at Dauphin County Prison, have a really good relationship with Warden Briggs. In addition to Director Matt Miller at Work Release, we get referrals from Dauphin County Work Release Center on a consistent basis. So we do accept people on county probation as well.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. That's the only question I have right now.
Awesome. Councilwoman Rawls.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Excuse my tardiness. I was being a mommy before I got here, so. No, thank you for the presentation. There was a lot of information. I definitely would like to see how it works within Dauphin County to get a bigger view of it. I just had one small question. I know a lot of individuals when they do go to even county prisons or state, one of the biggest issues is the substance abuse. And you did touch on it a little bit. And when they come back into that same environment, that's your biggest test. I feel like sometimes, too, to see if you're going to continue to make it out here or you return. Can you just touch on a little bit like how you all kind of counter that to just try to help them not relapse in that area?
So we do have a supportive services component to what we do. So while we focus primarily on workforce development, we realize that we have to take a holistic approach to the work that we do. There's no way around that. So in those instances where we've had people that struggle with substance abuse, if it is a situation where this person has disclosed that they struggle with it and are not seeking treatment for it, we definitely make referrals for that person and ensure that they follow through on those referrals. If it's a situation where maybe they're, I don't want to say shy, but intimidated by going to that service provider, we will accompany that person.
Good.
Because a lot of times we may be the only support system that person has, especially if this person is a transplant. CEO might be the only family he or she has. So we do not take that relationship lightly. So we are going to ensure that not only do we make the appropriate referrals, but that services are rendered. And if they aren't, then I'm going to be making calls to find out why they haven't been rendered.
I know you are.
That's right. So, yeah,
No,
we
thank you.
want our participants to be healthy.
Yes.
Outside of being a productive employee, we want them to be healthy. Period.
I love that. Thank you so much. That's it for me.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rawls. All right, so moving forward, we will turn it over to the Director of Dauphin County Department of Solid Waste Management and Recycling, Ms. Kelly. Ms. Kelly, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
Am I on?
Yes.
Do you want to?
Oh, yes, that would be,
Make it, yeah, there we go. Make it a bit easier.
all right.
Perfect. If you wanted to give
No,
your
this'll
synopsis on the relationship between the center and CEO and the work that's been accomplished and current contract and things that you guys are currently working on, that would be great.
Yes, so we have had a relationship with CEO since July 10th, 2023. And we started out with one crew of 8 participants and 1 crew leader, I believe. And now we're up to 2 crews, so 16 participants a day, 2 crew leaders, and it's been a blessing for my department. We try to help out and support our municipalities, and we understand that illegal dumping obviously is an issue in the city. We work with Dave and Kevin all the time as well in Public Works. So it just was a perfect union. So we are able to, every day, this is how it works. The CEO, participants, and supervisors meet at CEO, and then they arrive at our facility every day at 8:30 a.m. or by 8:30. And the 2 crew leaders will come in and they'll talk to our enforcement officer. Our department has 2 enforcement officers, one that works directly with Dave's department, and then one that is for the other 39 municipalities. So that gentleman is responsible for the CEO groups. And he will talk to our other enforcement officers, so if they're aware of any issues in the city, if there's a little hot spot that they can clean up, then that's where they go out and they clean it up. We do also have an agreement with LACSWAMA, Lancaster County Solid Waste Authority, for free disposal for this program. And through our Keep Dauphin County Beautiful affiliation, we're now able to secure free supplies as often as we need them. So we have the garbage bags, vests, gloves, and so just to try to keep them with some PPE. But since our relationship began in July of 2023, they have collected 45.8 tons. So I mean, it may not sound like a lot in the scheme of things, but when you think about 16 people out in the city just picking up trash with litter pickers and putting it in a trash bag every day, that's a lot of trash. So I'm very proud of the work that they do. And we were actually able to hire one of the crew leaders in our department. So, you know, we like to see it come around full circle because we want to be able to help them out as well if we can. And then we were able to get another participant hired at the company that works on our recycling trucks. So as you know, I don't know what he does there, but something in the mechanic area. So it's just, it's good to see the participants come through. I really can't say I've met any of them that don't want to do better for themselves. So I know that picking up trash really isn't very glorious or, you know, a fun thing for them to do, but I think it's a great project for them because it shows that they can learn discipline. And, you know, just because you go to a job and you may not like the duty, you're still fulfilling that obligation. And so it shows responsibility and due diligence, which we appreciate.
Thank you for that. And it sounds like transitional opportunities are right there. So, you know, upon reentry, work hard, and then you can transition to a full, you know, benefit type of package type of deal with maybe perhaps that could be pie in the sky for the city. You know, some that really are dedicated and want to pursue come right on. That sounds amazing. So once again, I'll open it back up, Madam President.
Thank you. I was wondering if you could please speak to the funding for this initiative. How is it funded?
Yes, I will have to actually defer to Kia
Okay.
because I was not involved in the contract
Okay.
initially.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we applied for funding through PCCD. So we receive violence intervention prevention funding through PCCD, which pays for our crews that we operate for the county.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right. That was all, Madam President?
Yes.
Okay. Madam Vice President?
I don't have any questions right now. The one I had, President Bowers asked.
All right, perfect. Councilwoman Rawls.
Yeah, same for me. I was wondering about funding, so it's already been asked.
And then I'm pretty sure there's a vast amount of grants and opportunities out there where this can relate to, and we could work with Ms. Vollmer and get creative and, you know,
Absolutely.
figure it out, especially with the wide diaspora of work that it covers. So I'm pretty sure it's something that we could figure out. So going right into our union considerations and labor impact, Mr. Tom Rivera, the PA Eastern Regional Field Coordinator for AFSCME Council 13. How you doing, Mr. Rivera?
Good. I'd like to say thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
Taking our folks into consideration here. Ms. Kia, I appreciate the work that you and your company's doing. I think it's outstanding. Unfortunately, I don't think my story will be as uplifting as what we've heard so far, right? But I don't want to be an obstacle more than I have to be, right? So essentially, you know, we represent all non-uniformed employees in the city, right? So essentially, everything that's not done from a confidential, a supervisor, that's our bargaining unit work, right? We're recognized as the exclusive bargaining representative and all those good things that I'm sure that you're all aware of. So I think from where I stand, the only obstacle that's in front of me is making sure that anything that were to transpire from any kind of agreement moving forward with CEO is that there's no duplication of our work, right? I mean, the work that's covered by AFSCME bargaining unit should remain. This should not be a means to avoiding overtime, scheduling weekend work, things of that nature. So I think it's a tremendous program. I think you deserve humongous congratulations for the work that you've already done and you continue to do. Again, if there's a place in the city that makes sense for AFSCME, it's not affecting our folks, you know, I would be in support, right? But obviously, what is in mind for what needs to be done, I think that really what's in consideration for these folks to do within the city limits is what's going to probably dictate, where we go, where the union goes from here, right? So, again, I can't express enough my concern about, the bargaining unit work stays in-house. But, again, I don't want to be too much of a downer here, right? But that's where we are. So,
And I think that was the whole goal of actually having you here too, to see if you saw any conflicts of interest. That was, I know, huge concern of the mayors and the administration. So we just want to make sure we're being fair and equal for all across the board and doing everything in accordance and correctly. And if you saw any conflicts, would you be able to bring those up, or what we should perhaps stay away from, or what would be, considered great to go after?
right, I think those answers I think those questions could be answered a little further down the road when we
Yep.
kind of identify what
Start honing
genre of
in.
work we're looking at here, right? And again, Ralph, you know me, I'm going to be straightforward.
Absolutely.
And, if it makes sense, it makes sense. If it doesn't, I'll speak my mind for our members, right? So,
Absolutely.
but again, I appreciate the work that you all do. Our relationship with the city has always been phenomenal. Mr. Grover, Mr. West, I appreciate everything you all do for our members and the residents of the city. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Madam President, any questions for Mr. Rivera?
No, I don't think I have any immediate questions. I would be curious to learn where this would be a good fit if it's not within Public Works. Is there another space that could work that would not impact the bargaining work? So that's all.
Right,
All right.
that's the question.
Matt, go ahead, Keith.
I just had a quick comment. So in other places that we've contracted, this issue has come up before, and I just want this to be on the record, that our intent is never to take work away from the, people in the union. Our intent is to support the union workers. There's a lot of work to be done in the city, and whatever we can do to lighten their load, that is our hope. So I don't want you guys to think that, we're coming in to try to take anyone's job. That is not our intent. Whatever we can do to help that is the intent.
And I meant no malice in my statement.
No, I just want you.
Just for the record, just to have it on the record.
Yeah,
Yep,
we just
yep.
want you to know we
I
want to
appreciate
help,
that.
that's all.
I
Yep.
appreciate that.
Awesome. Madam Vice President?
Thank you very much. Just a question more for the administration. We do contract with outside agencies to do things like maintain different lots and do other jobs the city's unable to do at the time. That's correct, right?
We do put some things out for bid that there is not enough manpower to do, and I was sitting here trying to think about that list as everyone was talking. But yeah, we do things for like snow removal, which we do not have enough manpower for certain lot maintenance, for certain tree trimming. And if you really think about rank and file, we even have sometimes cars have to go back to dealers, even though we have mechanics in it because of the warranties related to them. But so the devil's always in the details, right?
Absolutely.
That's where it's at. So.
That was all, Madam?
Is
Okay.
there any way we can get a copy of, or get a list of the outside contractors we use?
Yeah, they'll vary year to year, but we can get you a good example of the different things we've done. And every one of those goes to an Ask Me labor management meeting. We go down and we talk about, what the funding is, what the need is, and those type of things. So the administration, both administrations I've been in, they try to get that information to Ask Me first and have a direct discussion about, do you see this as taking on your work, and sometimes the answer is yes. That's our work. Sometimes the answer is, that we can work with that. So, is that fair?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So,
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, the communication has been outstanding since I've been a part of representing the folks here in the city with the leadership here. And listen, we work well together.
Absolutely.
Leave it at that.
Madam Vice President, all done?
No, just one more question.
Yep.
Does that request usually come from like department heads or like the mayor? Who usually make that request to create outside contracts?
I don't think there's any one path. It's assignment specific. What need is identified, right? And sometimes it comes in the course of planning a budget. Sometimes it comes in the course of a grant opportunity, and they can come from almost any direction. Eventually, it ends up on the mayor's desk.
All right, thank you. That's all my questions.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Rawls.
No, I don't have any questions. That question that Vice President Green asked was kind of what I was thinking too, 'cause I know we do have things out for bids such as the lots or snow removal. So I think it's a way to get creative as long as all of our communications stay open and transparent. I don't see any issues, so.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
The union, that's our brothers and sisters, so I by no means have any intent to impede. I just see it as a supplemental initiative that we can get to more, that we don't originally can get to or filter out. But no, thank you for that. And now we'll move forward with legal considerations. Mr. Neil Grover, our city solicitor.
And if the chair would indulge me, I actually have to ask a couple questions to make it some clarity.
Absolutely.
You talked about that you have crews they're helping with sanitation, and there's 3 offices of state. Are there crews that do other things?
So whatever scope of work is identified by the crew partner.
Okay.
So we can do other things.
So yeah,
Yes.
so it's not just that, right?
Correct.
Right. So that part of the imagination is what are the needs at a given time. It may not just be we already have enough guys out doing sanitation right now, but is there some other need we're not fulfilling? Which kind of goes to that. We contract out the fields being cut. We have 27 parks and playgrounds. There's a lot of things. Now that's ASME work. But it just depends on that. The funding source can matter. That's a legal consideration. And you were saying that you get it through a grant program. So does Dauphin County get the grant, or does your organization get the grant? Who applies for it? Who processes it?
We applied for the grant.
Right. So that is also a consideration, because that is a different scenario than the city funding against its ASME workers. Like, we're using the tax dollars we have. We don't have access to the funds that a third party is bringing. So but again, that will be in details, how you work through it. And that's how it is. We would, and we would take it to AFSCME, but I'm sure you could bring most directors in, and they would have a list of things they'd love to do extra they can't do. And the question is, what we're all bound by here is the tax revenue that pays our employees here. And so if there's an extra resource, if you think you design this the right way, you could have it's an extra resource as opposed to taking the resources and redirecting them, and it doesn't mean we don't have a contribution to it somehow. And then there's the ability to work with other public entities in partnership with this as well. I mean, so there's a lot of there. I mean, I think the administration will always start with AFSCME. Like, this is what the possibilities are. The mayor's office would identify needs through her offices of what's not being served. And I think, frankly, the mayor and all of you who get the phone calls, I'm glad I don't get them, know what people are calling about that we can't get to, right? I mean, and there is things we can't get to. So it's really going to just be down to the mechanics of that. But yeah, so we to me, the one that comes to mind most clearly that this parallels is the tree work we do with grants and the demo work we do with grants. We have a demo crew in-house, and we have an outside demo crew because we can't do it all. And it's a public safety concern to get people trained to do demo and get it down in time. The tree work is very much grant funded, so we have an in-house tree crew, and we have outside tree crew that's paid through grant money. And we've worked that out with AFSCME over the years, how that can work. So there are models that we can do it under. So it would really be down to specifics. So, and it could change year to year. I mean, what kind of crew we need, that could change like season to season, year to year. I think Mr. West can speak to, we have a pipeline that we've started where the city has been employing former folks coming out of the system. Mr. Weskin's department is the main department that does that over the years. That started with Mr. Johnson, and it's continued, and I think the city has had good success with that process. So I think the city very much encourages this. We had a few years ago, we did the ban the box thing on the application. So it's been moving in this direction. So Mr. Wesk is here. I think he could speak better to that than me on what the program is. But yeah, so there'd be, it would be really the design question, you know, and I think AFSCME is part of the discussion for what that design is. You know, I think we all know the needs of the city outpace the money by a lot. They just do, so.
Absolutely. Thank you. Madam President, any questions for Solicitor Grover?
No, I would just be curious of the design. I think if this is something that is or has become a priority for the city, then I think we need to continue to move in this direction and figure out the design. However, you mentioned communicating with the mayor and speaking to her about the direct needs or where she may see fit. In previous conversations, we faced some opposition in this area. So I guess my question to you is, do you think it would be more beneficial to discuss with department directors their needs that CEO may be able to meet, or how should we proceed in this?
Yeah, I think it starts with a conversation, you know, about what it is. I think this, what was not, I think, brought to the table before is the source of funding,
Okay.
right? That's the difference. Like if we take real estate tax dollars and hire people to do this labor, we are now violating the union contract, right? That's the black and white of it. And so if other resources are coming to the table, it's just a different animal. And so again, the devil's would be the details of the contracts, and it might end up with an MOU with the union,
Okay.
but we would need their sign on first. And so, you know, it would take a while to plan that out. But I would think, you know, the department heads would speak with the mayor about their needs and what they can and can't meet. And again, I think all the elected people here know what they are because you get the phone calls, you know, and you don't have a tow truck to go fix the problem. So so yeah, the type of contract matters a lot. There's contracts the city just won't enter into, you know, by the nature of the contract in terms of the terms and conditions. You know, and that's where the issues come up. You know, and I'm the person, when the person says that's a deal breaker, I go, I agree, and then we don't have a contract, right? That happens more often than you think with people that insist they want it their way with government money. And that happens because our job is to defend the government's tax dollars. So terms and conditions always matter. The details matter.
Oh, sure.
And we usually can get people to get to a point where they can see what our needs is. I mean, the way you do a contract is you figure out what each other's needs are. And as long as you get to something that satisfies the needs on both sides, you know, that there's a reason those terms are in agreement for both sides. And I don't think the city does arbitrary terms. You know, we have reasons for the terms in our agreements. Usually learning from past mistakes. You know, that's why certain terms are in there, certain terms are not in there. So there can be an agreement. If the mayor's there, the council would have to probably approve it. The council doesn't approve MOUs with the AFSCME, but if there's a third-party agreement like this, it would come to council. So.
One more question, and then I will be done. It was around, you mentioned perhaps a seasonal participation or seasonal. How would that work with the contract, though? Is this something that we would have to approve on, say, like a quarterly basis, or how would that work? Or would it be okay to just...
So contracts have like an imagination part on the front end, and you try to make it as easy as you can. You know,
I know, I'm
right?
just asking.
No. So this is how we do the bid contracts, right?
Okay.
You figure out what you need, and eventually we started putting out for bid the snow removal and the taking care of this place in the summer together, instead of doing two bids, like getting companies who have enough capacity to do both, right? But that takes experience as you go through it, and people saying this isn't working. And then you try to find another way to work. So a seasonal contract could still be, that's when the work is. Like, just like we have a seasonal contract we've had for people to come take care of the pools, right? The contract's an annual contract, but the work is limited to the time it's needed. And sometimes they're multi-year contracts, you know, or automatic renew contracts, you know, if no one cancels. So it just depends on how the terms are negotiated.
Okay.
So.
I have something.
Yes.
I would be remiss if I didn't offer a rebuttal to Mr. Grover. As a resident and homeowner and taxpayer, you know, we all live here and we all see the condition of the city. The city has an obligation to its residents to provide safe and clean neighborhoods. CEO is willing to offer its participants as a resource, but we shouldn't have to bring the money to the table as well. The city has an obligation to clean itself. I'm just, you know, I'm not going to beat around the bush, right? We've talked about wanting to clean up the city for a very long time, and I know Public Works is overworked. They don't have enough people, so I'm not blaming them because they can only do but so much, right? So it doesn't lie with them. So we're coming with a solution, but at the same time, we have to be met halfway. So the city has access to grants like we do, CDBG. Bring that money to the table. Let's get it done. We can't bring the resources and the money too. We shouldn't have to do that. We have to work in tandem in order to get this stuff done, because at the end of the day, when we talk about our tax base, this is a part of it. People are not going to want to move here, live here, stay here, if we don't do our part to ensure that these neighborhoods should look the way that they need to look.
And I actually don't think we're saying two different things. What I'm saying is the city could use grant money as opposed to tax money.
Okay,
And the
and
city
it
could
sounded
bring-
like you were saying we needed to bring the grant. That's what it.
No, and I think
that's how
I think you were participating with us getting it, right? Because we would be able to demonstrate that we have someone who
Get
can
'em on
carry
the
out the work.
application, yep.
That sounds
Right.
better.
Right,
Thank
you
you,
know what I'm
Neil.
saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. So
Great.
as opposed to tax dollars.
All right, great.
So-
All right, thank you, Neil.
Yes.
And I think just as a sign of good faith, I think we're all pretty much on the same page.
Yeah.
It's just because we don't want to conflict with one another. We want to respect each other's space. And that's why Mr. Tom's here, because we want to respect the union contract. We knew that was initially brought up, and we never wanted to conflict. So we're just trying to work through the kinks and really make something happen. You had
One
something?
final
Yep,
thought,
yep.
just on the grant funding piece. The city has been successful with its own VIP grant, as far as I know. Now, I don't know how it's being utilized,
Can
but
we speak to that? Do we have any update on that?
I don't know if anybody here can speak to that. But we have, 3 grants operating out of the Bureau of Police. That's where it's housed now, but I don't know how that particular grant is being utilized.
Yeah, we probably have more than 90 grants at the moment, right? Just all the different things we have, large and small. So, I mean, we're pretty good at getting grants.
Oh, sure,
Right,
I know,
and-
but I wanted to speak to that one because that is the grant that is funding the county's
The PCCD.
participation. So thank you. I don't have any other
you.
questions or comments.
Madam Vice President?
Thank you very much, Councilman Rodriguez. Just one question. Would you be able to provide like a cost analysis so that we can estimate about how much we'd be looking to fund?
Yes, so we had provided a sample contract at one point to Madam Mayor in addition to a proposal, but I can provide that to all of you as well.
And I think that's the same one. So we have it. We could probably, if you want to use that one, we could just reissue it to council. Yep, we still have that.
Okay.
Yep, awesome. Councilwoman Rose?
No, I don't have any questions. A lot of things been cleared up about, how we could get grants, how we can work together. I just really want to see us work together. Our city, we have more than enough work, I think, for anybody to take on and not step on any barriers with ASME, because that's very important in the work that they do. But I think that we can definitely find a way, I hope, to work together and get creative. And our city's excellent getting grants. Ms. Vollmer is. She gets us a lot of great grants that helps us implement them into the city. So I definitely think there's a way that we can figure it out. So,
Thank you. And I'd be remiss if I didn't introduce the young man here, Director West. If you wanted to say a few things, Mr. West, on how this could benefit, could work out, your thoughts on it, that would be marvelous. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman Rodriguez.
Absolutely.
I was over there sitting on my hands. I wanted to speak so bad. The Public Works Department, we have outsourced. We have 416 lots that are owned by our HRA, Harrisburg Redevelopment Authority, that we keep. We contract out to keep the grass cut throughout the entire season, as well as those same properties. We keep the snow off of the sidewalks of those properties for insurance purposes of the city, and that is contract out on a by-year basis, and we help whoever wins the contract. We help them by. We haul all of the heavy debris. They place it on the corners, and we pick it up with our heavy equipment because these companies don't have the heavy equipment, and that's bidded out every other year.
Awesome.
You know, and also to collaborate Capital Region Water, because they are the ones. The city used to clean our own streets within our highway department. But when Capital Region Water took over the water and sewer, they also took over the cleaning of the streets with the sweepers that were transferred to them with the equipment and all the transition. So that they would need to be involved if as far as helping organizations as your own to be a part of helping keeping the city clean as well. And we do invite organizations that would like to be a part of the solution, you know, of the city. As for example, a very large one, Wild Heart Ministries, who we have brought in as to partner with cleaning not just Allison Hill, because we cleaned Uptown, we cleaned Midtown through the same organization, and we continue to grow. As you are aware of with Hotspot Saturdays, that they are willing, and other organizations, to help be a part of this solution. So I believe that everyone here is on the same page. It's putting the mindset together to come up with the resources and the history of how we are here currently and the assets that we have to currently do it. And as well as Dauphin County, and Kelly will tell you, we have been working together, even have the city pays one of her employees half their salaries, and as you are well aware of that. And it's just a collaboration of everyone coming together that I believe, because it does take all of us in order to change the mindset, because you can pick up trash this week, next week, the whole month, but if you don't change the mindset, it'll continue to happen again. So you just have to continue to keep coming until you see them pick up a broom, you see them sweeping, and you see them helping, and they become part of the solution. As far as the corrections aspect, the mayor has allowed me to be able to hire employees that have been incarcerated. I have employees who have been incarcerated for 20 years, for 10 years, and they have not been denied employment. They work for the sanitation department currently. And we are also working with CRW. They have a gentleman who is certified. He's certified from PennDOT to train for CDL. So we are, and Tom from ASME, he can, what I'm looking for. Right, exactly. He is part of this program that we're trying to put together, because we have employees who are laborers who want their CDL, and a CDL currently, if you go to school, costs $5,000. So if we have a trainer from CRW that's willing to help us take our team to another level, that also helps with bringing in as far as the skilled labor and the labor itself. We have quite a few programs. We worked with Work Release Center with Dauphin County with their programs. We're open to pretty much any type of program that we can. The largest aspect of what happens is we have to make sure that these entities are insured, because as soon as something happened, we had an individual who worked with us from Work Release, and they cut his finger. So, and it was a big issue after that. So as long as we have our ducks in a row as far as the insurance purposes and all, and those other things, then I think that we will be fine. It will be welcomed. We have a lot of plans and visions on taking the city into the future of what we can do as far as sanitation, as the expansion of Stilton, Pembroke, and Paxton. You know, we, as I was sharing with you earlier, you know, we are putting together the next 5-year plan for Pembroke and Paxton currently as we speak. And we've already signed with Stilton for the next 5 years. So we are continuing to grow and expand, and we welcome anyone that's on a positive level to help us get to where we're going.
Absolutely, and I agree. With the 416 lots, are those union divvied out, or how are those contracted, or that's just third party?
It's contracted out as a bundle. It's placed out as on a bid.
Okay.
And once it's placed out there, you get the 3, and then you choose the one as together as an organization of which direction that you're going to go. That's just specifically for the lots for the spring, summer, and fall. Okay. But those same lots, because the grass doesn't grow in the winter, they have the sidewalks.
The snow
on them.
removals.
Right. So that's where the snow removal comes in for, and then you have a contract for that as well.
Okay, that sounds great. All right. I'll open it up for any questions for Director West, Madam President.
Just one follow-up question. You mentioned Wild Heart Ministries, so they went through the bidding process?
No.
No? That
we-
was a direct contract?
No, it was actually, they volunteered to help us throughout the city as far as different cleanups and that type of stuff.
Okay,
As organizations that I'm talking about, we use to help clean up.
okay. Thanks for clarifying. I don't have any other questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Madam Vice President.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Rawls.
Thank you for being here, Director West. I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone have anything to add before we go into public comment? Ms. Hansard?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I'm glad he brought up about the CDL. I forgot to mention that we definitely want to put our participants on career pathways as well. So we do have advanced training that we do offer to our active participants, CDL being one of them. CDL, we have a welding program. We also have an IT certification program in addition to a fiber optic technician program. All of these programs are offered at no cost to our participants. So we also offer CDL as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So what I'm gathering is that we're all willing to work together to come up with something creative that it's not really going against any of our bargaining agreements, and everyone can be happy. The goal is, you know, especially with our re-entrants, to just introduce them back and get them back to life as normal as possible, you know. But sometimes normalcy is just different to what it looks like to all of us. And dealing with those social, emotional conditions and the day-to-day struggles, you know, it's difficult. So my hopes by having all these great, wonderful professionals here is that we can draft something creative and really come up with a resolution and get some more work done. Because, you know, I work with Director West very closely, and it's a lot that we can get done. We just got to kind of see what it is, work with the mayor as tightly and closely as we can, and get some stuff done. So I thank you all for being here. And if there's nothing more, we can go into the public comment section of the meeting. Is there anything anyone would like to add? Ms. Kelly, Mr. Rivera? Neil, any last sentiments?
I think it's just a matter of detail. I think that's what the matter of detail is. I think we all know, I assume the pipeline for CEO of people that you want to help is much longer than the people you can help. And I think Dave can attest to the turnover we have in Public Works. So every year there are opportunities, and it would sound like a place where we could foster people that eventually would be working for us, just like the county has hired people. And the Public Works has always tried to promote from the bottom up. I mean, they train them, they give them opportunities, and they train them, and they give people a life and a career. You know, you know, it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity there. The funding is always the magic issue, right? But you know, and I think what you've misconstrued is I'm happy to have a partner that already knows how to get funding, because then they know the same problems that we have, right? It's not magic money. It's you got to do work to keep getting that funding. Absolutely. And so that is a process that is doable. Now, you know, we have to worry about the grant manager's 24-hour-a-day job. She's always going, but it is in the details. And I'd be happy to go back to the mayor. I think Dave been talking to the mayor about you know how this sort of fits the same things that we've been talking about.
And please let her know council would love to work with her side by side on this and try to really scrap something up.
I will pass that on.
What would be the next step in your opinion to move forward? Just present it to the mayor?
So my next step is we'll talk to the mayor, we'll talk to other managers. You know, there's a bi-weekly senior management meeting. Okay. And Public Works isn't the only department, right?
Right, absolutely.
Right? And so I said,
Parks and Rec, yep.
There's lots of things. And so but I think it's going to need a champion, if that makes any sense.
Yep.
Like everything to get done needs a person internally that's going to be the one that carries it forward.
Absolutely.
And you know, and that's a discussion to be had.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you all. I really enjoyed this conversation. At this time, we'll open it up for public comment. Just as a reminder, there's a 4-minute limit that will be kept by Mr. Truesdale. We'll start with our far right. Anyone want to engage in public comment? Come on up, set. No. Anyone to the middle? All right, hearing none. Anyone to the left? All right, hearing none. I entertain a motion to adjourn. Usually mine's like we giving cues, but we entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. It's 6:40 p.m. just for the record.
In a second. Second.
Second.
We're now adjourned.
I'll write a note.
Thank you all for joining us. Yep, and have a great night.
Thank you for having me. Now I gotta go fight to get back.